All right, rock and roll. Here we are, Scorched Earth Podcast for Thursday, March 13th, 2025. Wow, we're not even at 2 months of the Trump administration. Hold on to your hats. But I'm here in beautiful Las Vegas. You can see the den of inequity that is currently behind me. And I came up here for a day, take care of some business. And man, I'm telling you, it's like this city is just run on nothing but money, 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 money. Kind of like our boy Elon Musk and the billionaire boy Nazis that run the government now. I tell you, I'm just a middle-class person like you are. And to see what's happening to the stock market every day, Trump waking up that time of the month, it seems literally like it's that time of the month for him, literally 20 days a month. I mean, really, we ought to get some biologists and some gynecologists and some other medical scientists on this, because this is really, really an abnormality. Forget transgender. Is this guy having a period for literally 75% of the month? He wakes up, wrong side of the bed. Oh, I'm going to put a tariff on this guy. I'm going to put a tariff on that guy. And it is really wreaking havoc with the stock market. As you can see, it's going down 2% a day, which is just an enormous, enormous number. And I have a modest stock portfolio. I also have a 401k. And they went down approximately 30% in the last 2 months. And, you hear a lot of these MAGA people saying, well, we're just going to have to work a little longer and we're going to have to do this. And, well, it's going to be a little rough bump. And I had a good friend, Brother Bill. He told me, well, it'll come back. Well, that may be true, but you never regain that value that you lost. And what happens if you are on a fixed income, you are retired, and now they pull the rug out from underneath you? Because let me tell you, for the year and a half that Trump campaigned, he never talked about this. He talked about how we were going to have the greatest economy ever, how everything was just going to be fantastic, how prices were going to go down. Let me ask everybody out there, does inflation seem that bad right now? Tesla stock, as we talk about almost every day, when Biden came into the office four and a half years ago, 4 years and 7 weeks, it was at $260. Then it went up to $470, and now it's back to $213. I mean, wow. Can you imagine having Tesla stock and doubling your portfolio? Hey, that truck needs to calm down. I'm doing a podcast here for the people. And, and then literally thinking, okay, I have X amount of money, and then all of a sudden it getting cut in half. And there's no way to recover. It isn't. I'm talking for the people who are 70, 75. How do they recover? They don't. They go off to die, and isn't that basically their plan? They just want us to die and not dip into Social Security? Yeah, let me tell you, I will tell you this, dollars to donuts. There's more people who die before getting Social Security than are actually dead and getting Social Security. I would bet literally my life on it. I would bet Elon Musk's life on it. Well, no, I wouldn't do that because I'm sure we wouldn't have to pay up. But if you remember correctly, the stock market, as it keeps descending, in his first term, Trump always, when he got bad economic news, his go-to thing was, well, stock market's up. Your mutual funds, your portfolios, your retirement funds are up. That's what it is. Now it's funny. There's a couple things I don't hear anymore, and maybe you can give me some insight into this. I don't hear about the stock market, and I don't hear the word fake news anymore. You know why? Because they know the news that they're reporting is unequivocally true. When is the last time you heard Trump say fake news? Yeah, it doesn't happen, right? Well, it's fake news if they say he has a high IQ, but whatever. So now we're in this period where we're going to have pain. It seems like every night I keep doing Groundhog Day and on these tariffs and whatever, but there's some interesting things. And I'm going to focus tonight's episode on basically what happened in the Bush administration at the end, and where I think the parallels are with it now. And basically what we're talking about is the billionaires happy hour. So where do you really start, right? So people are wondering, pontificating. In the Trump administration, they're probably fornicating with each other. I know Elon and Trump are. But why is he doing it? You know, you hear that answer. Why is he doing it? Why is he, what's the game plan here? Why is he wrecking the economy? Well, it seems like the Congressional Budget Office on December 18th of last year, Joe Biden, we already missed you, really predicted what was coming. They said the CBO expects that the increase in tariffs proposed by Trump and on our trading partners for U.S. exports in retaliation would reduce the size of the U.S. economy. Would reduce the size. So why does he want to do that? The CBO further expects that the increases in tariffs would make consumer goods and capital goods. Now, capital goods, for an explanation, because to be honest with you, I didn't know what the hell that was either. Physical assets that businesses use to produce goods and services are going to be more expensive. Now, why is he doing that? Well, maybe we'll follow Columbo for the trail of clues, and maybe we'll get to an answer by the end of this podcast. So to see where this pissing match was going with Canada that we're having, let's talk about the new Canadian Prime Minister, Mark Carney. He announced that now he's issuing US dollar denominated bonds this week, which will compete with US Treasuries, likely driving up interest rates. Now, I don't want to get too technical. I don't want to get into macroeconomics, but let me explain what's going on. We spend more money every year than we bring in. So what do? That's called deficit spending. And what we do is issue government-backed bonds so people will buy them and get a 4% return or a 5% return, whatever it is, okay? But that is considered the gold standard of financial investments. You have the backing of the United States government, or any government typically, and you know you're going to get your money. It may pay less than market rates, but you know you're going to get your money. And the Chinese are notorious for buying U.S. Treasuries. You've probably heard U.S. Treasuries. Well, what Canada has done now is, for the first time, they have said, okay, you want to poke the bear, you want to poke the Canuck, whatever we're going to call them. We're going to issue those same treasuries. Now, we're going to have competition on the financial markets. It's not going to just be the U.S. Treasury. So, for instance, let's just say hypothetically, the U.S. Treasury will give you a return of 4%. Canada says we're going to give you 4.5. Now, when you're talking about the billions and billions of dollars that these bonds generate, attract, receive in funding, that 0.5%'s a lot. So what do we have to do? Then we're going to have to top them. We're not going to be able to say, well, just buy ours at a lower price because we're just good guys. Well, we're forsaking all our friendships. Now it's just a transactional thing, and now we're on the other side of it. So now Canada's like, yeah, we'll make these bonds US-based, dollar-based, and now we're going to go out into the free market and compete. Why didn't they do it before? Because of the trading. You know, Trump wants to make everything about the tariffs. There is so many other things that go on. Do you understand why the United States dollar is literally the currency of the world? One of the reasons is, and this isn't really explained to very many people, is because we have military bases in all these countries in the world. Why do you think we have a military base in South Korea? Why do we have them in Japan? Why do we have them in Germany? Why do we have them all over the globe? I think they're good things. I'm not getting into that. But one of the tenets of those agreements to house 5,000 soldiers, which is a boon for the local economy, is the dollar is going to be the standard. You know, I understand. In Germany, they use the mark, the euro, whatever, but the second currency is always going to be the US dollar. And what that means is you can go into any store and give a dollar, and they're going to accept it. Your problem is when they don't start accepting your currency, now you're on the outs in the financial market. right? I don't know if I explained that well. Maybe I didn't have enough fentanyl, but whatever. So now we have Canada, because we've angered one of our closest trading partners, because we've basically cut the legs out from underneath them. Trump said, oh, they're going to put a surcharge, which was in retaliation for his tariffs. Okay, now we're going, it's literally a pissing match, right? It's two drunk guys in the bar, right? And nobody's going to win. Literally, we, the consumer in America, are going to lose, right? And I don't remember anywhere in the campaign, and I literally saw 15 or 20 of Trump's rallies, him talk about the pain that was coming. He was just talking about the pain Joe Biden brought us, supposedly. Let me ask you right now, would you rather have Joe Biden's economy or this clown? Yeah, I know. I can already hear you, right? So those interests, when they rise, they ripple through our economy, right? So if we have a treasury bill and we pay 4%, but Canada offers, say, 5%, we have to go to 5.5, it ripples down into the mortgage rates, into credit cards, to all the other interest-backed things that we deal with in society, right? So if your credit card hypothetically is 18% or whatever it is, when the interest rate goes up, so does it corresponds on the credit card, or it corresponds on the mortgage. I think most people understand how the mortgage thing works. The government sets the rate according to how they market their treasuries and T-bills. That's really where it all starts. Now that we have to raise the interest rate, well, we got a little problem there, right? So I'm going to talk about what the happy hour is, and this is called the Billionaires Happy Hour, and why I think Trump is doing this. And it's going to be a little controversial, and personally, I really don't give an F. Okay, let's get to it. Right now, there's 13 billionaires who are currently in Trump's cabinet in the government. 13. Wow. Yeah, it's going really good, right? So let's go back to 2008, George Bush's last year in office, right? The stock market went down over 50% in the course of basically 6 months, towards the end of his term, as average people had to cash out their 401ks just to keep their head above water. Actually, forget the head, the water level is right there, right? So on October 9th, 2007, the Dow Jones was at its peak at that time of 14,164, right? But by March 5th, less than 6 months later, it was down to 6,594. Okay. So the stock market goes down, just like it is now, right? Now, what's the end game? Well, I think you're probably one step ahead of me if you think what this is coming. In that time, and this is something that it really makes me sick to my stomach, 8 million Americans lost their jobs in that 1 year, right? I was one of them. I didn't have a job for a whole year. I lost my house, I lost my truck, I lost everything. Okay, there you go. Those are Republican economics, right? Everything's going to be great. But the rich in that time, as Americans were losing their life savings, they were losing their jobs, they were losing their 401k, saw it as a time to buy stocks and other assets. They call that the billionaire happy hour, right? Let's go back in time. In the Depression, Rockefeller, Howard Hughes had an enormous amount of money. And how did they increase it? How did they become incredibly rich? Because they bought people's houses for 20 cents on the dollar. Because they bought their assets. They bought 10,000 acres in Oklahoma, let's just say, for $200. Because at the end of the day, the guy was going to lose it to the bank. He had to sell it. It didn't really matter. You know, this is what they do. They swoop in and prey on us because they don't give an F about us. They only care about us in the 2 months before an election. Make no doubt about it. That's what it is. So between 2009 and 2020, 2012, the top 1% of Americans saw their income grow by over 31%. The top 1% grew 31%. Wow, that's amazing. That's a pretty incredible thing. 95% of all income increases in the United States in that period were taken by the top 1%. So when the stock market cascades, when it crashes, we're all running for lifeboats, But they already got the Titanic. They're ready. They're steaming ahead. They're picking up the people. They're picking us off one by one. Let that sink in for a second. $1 billion invested in 2009 over the next 11 years became over $5.6 billion. Do we see a theme here? And the theme is that the rich extraordinarily and unfairly profit when the stock market tumbles like it is now. We have 13 billionaires in Trump's cabinet. How many of them, there's no transparency on their financial records, we have no idea what they're doing. Do you think it's possible that Trump and his band of cronies are thinking, well, let's just tank the stock market for 6 months. Let's make tens of billions of dollars in profit and then try and turn it around. Now, I don't know if they can turn around the ship, right? Once the ship gets going, it's, as we found out in previous recessions, 2008. It took 4 years. It took Barack Obama, that great man, 4 years to turn it around. And then by the time he got it turned around, Trump walked in and said, hey, thanks, I'm doing great. You know, it's funny, they're trying to blame all these high prices, all these things on Biden, but all the good stuff that he says is happening, it's all him. You know, he wants half the economy, but not the other half. Well, honestly, if Kamala Harris was our president today, this would not be happening. The stock market would be moving up, people's lives wouldn't be uprooted, and we would not be dealing with these issues. But we voted for a man who said that the cost of inflation was too high, even though unemployment was a 50-year low. Sometimes you get what you vote for. And I know a lot of people out there voted for Kamala, and this is like an extra kick in the teeth, you know? It's like when you're down and you're wounded, and then they come on and they put another boot on your head. And this is what it is. And now they're going to take your shirt, they're going to take your jacket, they're going to take your shoes. I'll tell you why I put the glasses on today. All humor aside. Because I was so angry today, I was almost tearing up. Just seeing the stock market just disintegrate right in front of our eyes. And I do think it's on purpose. I don't think there's any master plan. Does anybody honestly believe that Donald Trump is capable of some Svengali type of master movement? Like it's a heist movie and they plan 20 moves ahead? Like Mark Wahlberg in The Italian Job? No. I don't think anybody really even thinks that. I don't think the people in his own cabinet have any idea what's going on. I think he wakes up and he just makes a decision and then the next day he makes another decision. You know, we got 4 more years of this. All right. If you could, though, that's all I'm going to say. I'm in Vegas. I'm going to go see Black Bag tonight. I'm going to review it later tonight. I just want to tell you all, I love you all. Thank you for listening to the podcast. We're going to get through this together. We're going to get rid of these mother effers real soon. Real soon. And I am looking at the next town hall for my local congressman, videotaping it and going at him. All right. Leave some comments. I had some trolls leave some comments today. I always appreciate it because I always know one thing. A Democrat's always going to be smarter than a Republican. And you can't just deal with that. That's what Darwin said. We evolve. We're leaving you in the dirt. All right. Peace out, and I'll see you tomorrow.